Okay, I'm going to show you some of the coolest features of Fritz chess software. This is kind of one of the best training tools I've found to get better. You know, as a newbie, you want to get better and find your weaknesses, and there's some games in here and some drills that you can do that are really cool. Well, let's just get right into it. So here I'm on the main screen. I'm going to go over to Training. I'm going to go to Attack Training. This is one of the features that really made me want this software. So I've started the process, and I have it set to a minute. And what you have to do is you have to look for every single piece that's currently in danger. So for example, this knight's in danger from the pawn, and both of these are in danger from the black knight. Both of these guys are in danger of themselves. The queen can take that, the bishop can take the queen can take the bishop. All you have to, once you get done with finding all the pieces that are in danger, it'll move on to the next screen. And it's pretty fun because at the very end of this, if you keep doing this, you start getting really fast. And my record is count, I think it's within a minute, is 54. Maybe it might be 2 minutes. But we'll see what happens here at the end of this 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. As soon as this ends, it'll tally up how much you got, and then you try to beat it in the next. I got 15 in the last segment. My average is 24, and my highest is 53. I challenge you to do better, as good or better than 53. It's pretty fun, actually. It's kind of addictive. If we try it again, I'm going to go to Attack Training. Attack Training. I'm going to go queen can take the queen can take this white piece, this bishop could take the pawn, the rook could take the bishop. I'm not trying real hard here. It's kind of hard to try and talk at the same time. But as soon as you get all your pieces, it's going to, here, this rook can take this pawn. It's going to flip to a new screen, and these screens are random variations based on real games, I believe. It even tells you what game and where it was, but there's some. One of the problems with this is if you really get into it, some of the screens are actually easier than others. Certain configurations are easier than others. I often get caught in this trap of I'll get almost all the way done and there'll be just one thing I can't find it for some reason. It's harder than you think to find every single piece that's in danger. It's actually harder than you might think. Give it a try. This is one of the best features. It's kind of fun. You get to play and you learn at the same time because you can start seeing when pieces are in danger really quickly. Okay, the next training tool in Fritz that's interesting is the defense training, which is kind of the opposite of attack. And I'm going to start my game over here. And in defense, you're going to click all white and black pieces that are not defended. So let's look from white's point of view. So you have a king here and 3 pawns. They're all defended by the king. This knight is defended by no one, so he's in danger. You could say whoever's in danger. He is defending him, but nobody's defending him. So who's defending this pawn? Nobody. Who's defending that pawn? No pawn. Nobody. Who's defending that guy? Who's the king is defending these 2 guys and him, and he's defending him. He's defending him. They're all these are defended by something. Nobody's defending him though. He's in big danger. So this guy's also not defended. It looks like I've missed one. He's not defended. Anyway, suppose you get to the end of this and you don't know. You can't find the one piece you miss. It will tell you based on the color. And here I missed the rook on the bottom right here, so you know here's my average of 8, the highest is 8, and my last game was 8, and I missed this rook because nobody's defending him. So this is the second feature I really like about this program. It's kind of another fun game that teaches you how to get, and it'll just make you better just because you'll start recognizing patterns faster and faster. So next I'm going to go back to training, and I'm going to look at check training. And this type of training is designed to teach you how to get the other side into check. So what pieces can you move to put them into check. Click, and you do both sides. So if I was white and I wanted to put the king in check, who could do that? Well, all I see here is he could come over here and put him in check, and he could come over here and put him in check. The bishop could come here. Not saying that's a good move, but I'm not seeing any other checks. The queen, no. Who? So what piece on here could put the other one into check? This guy could come here. That's all I see. No, I should have picked him. I picked the wrong one, that's why. I picked the piece that it was going to take instead of the one. So here again, at the end of it, I only got 2 right while I was showing you. But then in the next screen, this guy could put him into check by coming down and taking that pawn, then he'd be in check. He could come up here and land right there and put the king in check. So this is check training. It's not as much fun, I don't think, as attack training, but it's still yet another tool in the Fritz arsenal. Another part of Fritz training that I really like is the end game training. Here you get to pick just a couple different pieces towards the end of a game where it gets really weird, and I'm actually really bad at this. But if you want to do knight versus rook, this would set up the game for you automatically. So you would play, in this case, black. I'm going to put him in check, and you got to figure out how to check the other guy. And it has a lot of different settings. Of course, you can pick different users like pawn versus queen, queen versus bishop, and so on. That's another pretty cool feature. I'm going to say right now, when I play, I actually like playing the computer more than playing people. I tend to get pretty angry when I lose. So if I get beat by the computer, I always say, well, it's a computer. You know, it's much smarter than me, of course. Anyway, I've found that the friend mode, when I do friend mode, no matter what number or handicap I put it on, I find friend mode to be extremely difficult to play against. I have a lot of trouble beating it, no matter what handicap I give it. Okay, so that being said, one of my favorite modes is to go into handicap and fun, and I click on Desperado. I find, now that may not necessarily be a good player, but I find that I struggle to beat this scenario, and I also get beat by it. So I find that once again, that would be handicap Desperado settings, and it puts all these settings in here. You know, they actually don't mean a whole lot, because I don't think Desperado is actually an 1800 playing strength. But I find Desperado to be a good opponent for me. I can beat him about half the time, and he beats me half the time, and so I find that one to be a good. But there are others you can play with in there on the handicap. You can play against the computer in different types of handicaps.